And we are live. Oh my goodness.
Welcome, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. It's Wednesday. We made it.
It is Wednesday. We made it. Everybody who is here, thank you for your patience. You will notice that somebody is coming in hot today and was a few minutes late coming on the stream. That is completely my fault. I'm Jill. And had a little
Oh,
bit of
there we
an
go.
had a little bit of an injury today, so I was doing some first aid. So sorry.
You
Um,
all right?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hi, Shauna. Shauna's here. How you doing? Um, I am Jill. I am one half of the lawyer team at Dahlia Law Group, a small but mighty law firm in Oakland, California, where we do the work of legacy. And to us, legacy is the stories, it's the artifacts, it is the things of a life that only exist because you did. And so they only exist because you were here. So we use several different tools for that. We use the tools of estate planning, we use the tools of probate, we use the tools of civil and probate litigation, all in service of that work. So that is who I am, and that is who the firm is. Who are you, my friend?
I am Alicia Holland. I am the other half of Dahlia Law Group, and I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Shauna says that she's good and she hopes that I'm okay. Thank you. I am fine. It is a relatively short but still uninteresting story, but I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine. I just I don't like being late for things. It stresses me out. Um, how you doing, friend? You've heard a bit about how I'm doing. So, how are you doing?
That's fair. I am all right. I had a different start than I planned for the
Mm.
morning.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like to try to get out and get my little walk in,
Mm-hmm.
and couldn't go today because my ankle was hurting too much. So I got to go yesterday, which was the first time in a couple weeks that it felt well enough.
Okay.
And so I was a little sad this morning. I'm like, but I wanted to go. We were making
Did
progress.
you overdo it yesterday? Do you think that when you went yesterday you did too much?
Who knows? I don't think so. But I also forgot to, one of the suggestions of, you know how your parents have all of the remedies and things
Oh, you
for
didn't
the
put any
things,
tussin on it? You
no
didn't put
matter
the
how
tussin
old
on
you get.
it? There was not a tussin application in your
Right.
first in your
So
first aid plan.
there was a recommendation of, if it feels worse in the morning, to do your tussin at night right before you go to bed.
Mm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
seems to have been helping a little bit, but I forgot to tussin last night. So in my mind I'm like, "Oh man, I forgot to take this stuff." It turns out that's the thing.
Imagine.
So could be illogical, who knows, but that's where we are.
Listen, mother wit is a real thing. That is a real thing. Shauna said, y'all a little banged up today. We
Yeah.
are a little bit. And somehow still here. So
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And and the ridiculous of it all, of, like, it's not even a good story how I hurt my ankle. Like, it wasn't like rock climbing or something. I went to bed and I woke up and it was hurt, and it's been hurt for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
who gets hurt in their
The
sleep?
mystery illnesses though. The mystery illnesses. Like those are the things. Lisa's here. She says, "Hooray, I made it. Good to see you both."
Yay.
And she's asking if I cut my hair. And yes, I cut my hair, I cut my ear, I cut a couple things. So, so
All that cutting intentional? All right. Okay.
No. Um, yeah, I know it's a good idea to be precise with one's cuts, but not all of these cuts were precise. No. Lisa says she's just getting on now, so she's she's just getting caught up with our injury reports. And see, aging is a trip. Listen, I will take all of the aging, cuts and all. Here for every age. My response is keep them coming. So
That part.
I'll take it. Thanks.
That part right there.
Yeah, but there's the, I will tell you, well, I don't have to tell you, you know me. There are some unforced errors that come along with being Jill. Like, there are just some things that happen, and we all look back and say, but did it really have to be like that? Like, here we are at gauze, bandages, crutches. What did I have last time? The walking boot. Yeah, like, did it really have to be that way?
Oh
So,
man.
yeah, it is.
I am just being reminded of a video that I really almost sent you. It was either last night or this morning on the Instagram. I was like, no, no, I'm not. And I'm like, doggone it. Now I'm gonna have to go find it again. And it's three little oldies like coming into a house on the security camera.
Mm-hmm.
And the title on it says something along the line of me and my friends checking into our Airbnb in 50 years. And so the first little lady goes in, and the second little lady is like, "Oh Lord, Gladys done fell," because the third one tumbles off the stairs.
She, me,
And the
her.
one inside, you hear her going, "Well, why'd you fall, girl?"
Yep.
And I was like, it shouldn't be funny, but it feels so true.
She,
So
me, Gladys. This. Yep.
right there with you because the other one that saw it happen looked like she was barely making it up the stairs herself. So,
I'll just tell you that the fire department was here not too long ago. And they pulled up. And a couple of. I mean, lights, sirens, their lights and sounds, all kinds of things. And they pull up and they're like, so, what's going on? And I was like, trying to cook it, decided to cook the steak in the oven. And they were like, okay, any good? And I was like, you don't want this one. They're like, all right, next time. It's
yeah, when the story starts, so what happened was,
you know, what's a little life without a little life in it? Like,
ain't it
if
so?
your life doesn't have any life in it, what are you doing? So, all right. So, welcome, everybody, to the Legacy live stream. This is a weekly conversation that Alicia and I host live so that we can interact with you and take questions and all of those things. Excuse me, and it's on a legacy topic. Every single week, every Wednesday at 12:30 Pacific time, we meet you here, except for when Jill decides to injure herself, at which point, at which time we meet you at 12:35. So, today's legacy topic is, drum roll, please. Oh, that was for you, because you have the
So
you
I
have the
was waiting.
notes.
Like the anticipation is getting me.
I know. I mean, it was kind of a big lead up, and then I yeah. Sorry, I didn't tell you the alley oop was coming.
Like, give me a signal
Right,
next time.
right.
Topic is restorative practices.
Yeah. So we are coming up on. Well, actually, I think we're firmly in the winter holiday season, right? We just recently had Thanksgiving for people who celebrate that. Uh, Native Peoples Memorial Day, Feast Day, whatever you call that Thursday. in November, and however you recognize that, we just had that. Um, Hanukkah is starting tomorrow. And Christmas is coming, Kwanzaa's after. I mean, it's just the holidays on holidays on holidays. Tis the season. And
Fa la 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 la.
wait, do you really feel like that about it? Do you have some judgment in like some judge
Yeah,
in
I'm
judgment?
saying if you got tis the season, you need some decor on it.
I mean,
Like
I
fa la la
know,
la la.
but friend, your fa la 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 was like fa
Oh,
la 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 here.
listen, I have Christmas ornaments within reach.
That's true. That's true. I heard about this. Ooh, close up. Close up. Let us see. Let us see. It is both sparkly and red bottomed. I see. Look at this. Is
So
this a new ornament?
it is one that is making a new appearance
I
this year.
uh-huh.
So
I
I
like
got
it.
my fa la 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 la.
Well,
Don't question my fa la 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 la.
you know what? I stand all the way down. Right? I went from standing down to standing down. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down on that. I hereby withdraw my questioning of your holiday and judgment.
Notice
Okay.
it even involves glitter.
Clearly, because what was I thinking? Uh, so we decided to focus these next couple of legacy sessions, which are I think they're our last two sessions this week and next week. Our last Are they our last two legacy sessions for the year? Is it? Are we
No,
really there?
no.
Okay. Okay. So apparently we're not. So, because I have to check in on these things because my relationship to time and a calendar and all of that stuff, it is a little bit challenged in the age of COVID. So
I'll say we
we
have at least two more. Stay tuned if there's more after that.
well, we're going on holiday break. And so we close everything for holiday break. We close the office, we close the legacy live stream, we actually go on break. And so so we won't be having the live stream while we're on break, but we'll come back uh, to you at least unless Alicia decides something different. If Alicia decides that we're having the live stream on break, then that's what we're doing. Uh, but today we're talking about restorative practices, and excuse me, it occurred to us that this time of year, like we just have to have something to lean on, right? We were trying to plan for a completely different topic and we were struggling with it. We were like, really? If we are struggling to talk about this right now to get into the topic, then I think it's going to be a little difficult to moderate a conversation about it. So I think that we are mirroring a lot of the energy that we are feeling this time of year. And so that naturally led us to a conversation about how do we restore and what are some of those restorative practices. So we are going to invite you into a conversation around restorative practices built on a few questions. The first thing though is to ground this topic in legacy. Why is this a legacy issue? Why are restorative practices a legacy issue? And we really want to hear from you on this. So talk back to us, please. We'll give you some of our thoughts as per usual, but we really do want to hear from you on this also, as per usual. And Danielle's here. My sister's here. Hi. So, Alita, just sort of getting into that initial grounding. How does this topic of restorative practices align for you as a legacy issue?
So for me, the way it aligns as a legacy issue is you have to be here. like part of your legacy is being here as long as you can in the ways that you can, physically, emotionally, with your presence. And so, if you are just so exhausted that you can't be present in your own life, that impacts the legacy of both your legacy of now that you are creating and the legacy that is here after you're gone. If all your people remember is that you were a recluse or were always so tired that you never did anything or any of those things. And so, that finding ways to restore yourself so that you can be more present in your daily life, and that gets to be the legacy of your people of how they get to remember you and that presence, that to me is the legacy connection.
Yeah, that resonates. That really does. I definitely understand that. Um, I think for me, it's a similar idea, right? I am thinking about I am thinking about stewardship. That's the word that is coming to top of mind for me. And you and I have these conversations all the time. So you already know what I think about this. But for this moment, I think the word stewardship is coming to mind for me. And it is specifically this idea of how do I care for with integrity the things that have been put into my care, right? And if I am sort of leaning into that question, that is definitely a legacy question, right? Like, how do I care for those things? How do I direct that resource, right? Or the things that have been sort of put into my care, and my time and my vessel, right? This body and the spirit that inhabits it are my most valuable things. And so caring, caring, restoring and reorienting those things is is pretty significant. I am getting a message that, sorry, our live stream gave me a message that there was an error with the recording. I'm not really sure what that means. Um,
Are the people here? Can they hear
yeah,
us?
yeah, no, our folks are here. You know what? Will somebody do me a favor and just tell me if the stream is still up and active on the YouTube channel? It looks like everything is fine on my end. So the switchboard looks like all the lights are on and everything is fine. But I did just get like a little pop-up message that had an error message in it. So I just want to double check. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about stewardship. Lisa says that she can see and hear us. So thanks, Lisa.
Perfect.
Oh, Lisa also says that memory is legacy, how one is remembered, and she really appreciated your point. Shauna and Danielle are both saying that the stream is fine as far as they can see, and that we've been going for a good 17-18 minutes, so we're fine. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. So restorative practices, we're talking about being here. We're talking about um, caring well, right, for ourselves and the capacity that that creates as we are here. So Lisa said, "What is a switchboard? What is this? The 1930s?" Oh, oh,
Shade.
quite,
Shade on the internet.
quite. The internets are a shady place. So
Takes one to know one.
I don't know. Lisa's pretty internet savvy, and I mean, we're savvy in our ways. Like we can pick and plunk. I like to think of us as sort of oh goodness. There was this typing program like way back when computers were home computers were sort of newish, and you had those big floppy discs, those 5.5 inch discs.
Never touch the center ring.
Right. And I remember one of my favorite ones was Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. And and it was nice when I got to the point where when I got to the hunt and peck stage before I was proficient. Yeah, I see us as at the hunt and peck stage with internet and technologies. We can.
And that is why I get to be the great grandmother, because I am too old for Mavis Beacon. By the time she came around, I had been typing. Listen, my father made me go to summer school and take typing so I could be prepared to type my papers in before I even started high school.
No, he didn't. That was not the reason. Your father made you go to summer school so that you could learn to type so that you could get to work in the family business.
Oh no, I had been working there because
Okay.
he made me. I took it in sixth grade, again in seventh, and
Wow.
then in summer school. So there has been
Wow.
many of the typings.
Shauna knows Mavis. Shauna knows about Mavis Beacon teaching typing. Um,
Yeah, I
but yeah,
learned
I
on
think
typewriters.
yeah. Well, Mavis Beacon was a black woman, and there was this whole like graphic of her in her typing classroom and all of this. Mavis was. I wonder if we still have that. Don't even go down that rabbit hole because I will call and ask my mom to look, and she will. Who knows what she will find when she goes down digging in the crates in the basement. She might find Jimmy Hoffa down there. Um, okay, so we are going to continue the conversation now that we're sort of grounded in this legacy idea. We're going to continue the conversation around some questions which we came up with in advance, and I think we got about three or so of them, and we'll get to as many as we can. No pressure, easy does it. Lisa says that she used to volunteer for summer school all through elementary school. Lisa, you mean you used to volunteer to help at summer school, or you used to volunteer to attend summer school as a student? I bet that Lisa volunteered
Lisa
to
was going
attend
to
summer
go.
school, yeah, as a student. It's nice to have a healthy love of learning. Yeah, when I was in school, I had a healthy love of sleeping in. So I did not volunteer to go to to go to summer school.
And yet
Um,
we all made it.
yeah, and so
Everybody get your restoration how you need to.
indeed, indeed. So tell
First
me,
question.
remind me of what our first question is. I know what the questions are. I just don't remember what order they're in.
I'm going to remind myself.
Okay.
What is a restorative practice that stands out that is surprising to you?
Oh yeah, I love this question. This was the what yeah, because we were talking about what's feeling restorative now that that maybe sort of lands as a surprise, right? That stands out like, oh, huh, who'd have thought, right? Maybe because it's new, or maybe because we're engaging with the practice in a new or different way. Um, do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Flip a coin.
I'll go first. um, I would say that these two are actually really recent for me, but they stand out as a little surprising. One, they're both technologies. They're both platforms. One of them is called Twitch, and one of them is called Clubhouse. And
Oh, yay.
Twitch is a platform that is, as I understand it, it was popular in the gaming community, and so it is built around gaming. It's a live streaming platform. The restorative practice that it supports for me is learning about new music, because DJs and performers and artists of various kinds have come to this live streaming platform, and they just do what they do. And so there are a number of DJs and things like that. They'll come on there and spend like hours long sets. And so I just, and so I have been able to just engage with people from all over the world that I probably wouldn't have found or wouldn't have sought out otherwise. So yes, so Twitch for for new music, and Clubhouse is a social media platform that is conversation based. And so right now, I think Clubhouse is in beta, and so they're doing that thing where you get invited or whatever. They're not. It's not an all call for open for open completely to the public membership, but it's also not hard to get on the platform. So Clubhouse is live conversations. It is not visual, so it's audio only, and there is no way on the Clubhouse platform to engage with people indirectly. There's no chat feature, for example. There is no direct message or instant message platform. You engage with people conversationally, and the conversations are around a topic. Now, you don't necessarily have to speak during a conversation. You can pop into a room and just observe or listen in on the conversation that's being had. But there are conversations about everything under the sun. There are conversations about economies. There are conversations about science and medicine. There are conversations about art and the music business and creative industry. And I mean, all sorts of things. And anybody can start a conversation. So if you're on the platform, you can, you can just start a conversation, and anybody popping by can join in to that conversation. It's a really fascinating platform. It speaks to my way of engaging, right? It is more long form conversation than it is, quick visual
140 characters.
yeah, and it's not a visual consumption. So, I mean, whatever your profile picture looks like, that's the only thing anybody sees, because there are no cameras, there is no, there isn't any of that. We're just talking. And so if so those two things have really kind of felt restorative to me. Something about just a good old conversation. Right? Have you ever just kicked up I know you have just kicked up a conversation with somebody, maybe sitting at the table next to you in the coffee shop back when outside was open or something like that. It very much has that feel, but you can be more intentional because the conversations are around topics, and you know what the topic of the conversation is before you come into the conversation. So, and you can engage in whatever way feels good to you. So those are a couple of things that have stood out to me as like, oh, huh, there you go. So, what about you?
That's awesome. Well, first, thanks, because I had heard of Clubhouse for the first time on Sunday or Monday of this week. And then I keep hearing about it, and I'm like, but what is it? And I'd been meaning to look it up and had gotten distracted and forgotten. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'm like, what is this new Clubhouse thing that the kids are talking about?
Yeah, like a few months ago, some folks that I know were on it and were having some sort of
Is
jam
that all?
session or poetry session or something. And you know me, I can be a little anti with new things. It's like all the cool kids are doing it. Eh, that's all right. so so I knew about it before, but I didn't seek it out then. I just sought this out a few days ago. So
Listen, I thought it was only like 2 weeks old because it has literally been within less than 5 days since I have even heard of this thing's
gotcha.
existence.
Yeah, no, it's older than that, but it's still relatively new, but it is older than 5 days old.
5 is generous. It was like, I think Sunday.
Yeah. Lisa's saying that she just heard about Clubhouse as well, and it's only on or for iPhones. I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me.
Gotcha. Well, that tickles me. So restorative, that's surprising. It is, I will say it's surprising, but just in a different, not surprising, but it is surprising in a different way
Hmm.
for me, which is that I have always been like loved doing my nails, getting them done, all of those sorts of things. And so, what has been surprising lately is getting to engage in that in a different way and just having some fun with it. And also feeling like seeing how it gets to be a part of my creative practice. So, when I don't have the
Mm.
energy to do some of my other creative endeavors that maybe just take a bigger effort or even take more movement. And I don't want to necessarily engage in that, but want to get to the satisfaction of finishing. Because sometimes you want to be in a creative mode, but not as a piece of the process. You want to see it through to finishment, but don't have time to like sit down and sew a whole dress, for
Hmm.
instance, in that moment. And so getting to just play in nail polish is like I get a little painting, I get a little creative energy, and it's finished, and my nails get to look cute. And so it's like working with tiny canvases or with tiny fabrics almost. And so how it has become a thing, and it brings me delight of like my whole process of like when I do it, and that it just gets to be its own thing and a thing that I get to look forward to and kind of dream and think about and play with for a little while. And if I don't like it, since I have the means of production here, then if it doesn't turn out the way I want, then in a day or two, then I'm like, let's switch it up. Which is like, I love getting my nails done, but it's too expensive. Well, at least it doesn't fit in my budget to go every couple of days and get my nails done,
Yeah.
or like to just change it up in the same ways.
Yeah. 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 No, I get it. I really love that you said it brings me delight. Like that felt I felt that. Like that, yeah. That was cool. I get it. So, is there a new nail design on today?
Well, now I'm thinking of the ones that are like what's coming next. So, I don't know. Is Can you see that?
Yes.
So it is like
Oh, those
a
are cute.
shimmery purple, and then there's
Yes.
like stripes and dots and glitter.
Yes. Those are cute.
So these are on their last day or two.
Okay.
And so I'm like, ooh, but what should be next?
I love it. And I imagine that that's meditative too, because there is a certain repetition to the application. I mean, just like painting, like you said. I
And
love
then
it.
because it's the gel, it's the like you sit still.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm only ever using I like one hand is always going to be under the lamp if I'm not painting.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is a quieting and a stilling. And so I might read a book while I'm doing it, or have something that I'm looking forward to watching that I know I need to be sitting still to
Mm-hmm.
watch that. And so, like, ooh, when it's manicure time, that is when I will do that. And so it's like it's just calm. It's lessening the number of activities and stimuli in
Mm-hmm.
that time.
Yeah.
And I know about how long it's going to take me. So to just kind of get a break.
Yeah. Lessen lessening the number of stimuli. Like that feels that feels important. That idea feels important. Lisa is saying that she hasn't given herself the time to find a new restorative practice. She thought it would be jigsaw puzzles, then coloring books. She still has both things, but has to give herself the time. But she says that she has to say that she's pretty happy with her old restorative practice, which is sewing. And so I think that I mean, that's totally valid, right? Like you don't
Hmm.
have to run out and find a new thing to do. It's perfectly fine for an old thing to light you up in a new way, or for a thing that is already familiar to you to still have its impact, right? Sometimes, we run from shiny thing to shiny thing. We joke that I might have been a magpie in a previous life because I'm like, ooh, shiny, all the shiny, all the shiny things. But yeah, that it doesn't have to be some new thing that we run off to. Sometimes, sometimes it can be, and that can be great. And sometimes a remix or a spin on a thing that we love, or just continuing to do the thing that serves us so well. I think there's value in all of those ideas.
Yeah, no, I think that is a perfect the way you said it is like the blend. Like yours are some kind of new things, new technology. Mine is really a spin on a thing that has been a thing I was interested in because I remember being a junior high and high schooler and deciding that I needed to learn how to do acrylic nails. And so I learned how to do acrylics myself, and my mother graciously let me practice on her
Your
nails.
mother was a saint.
And so and then now like I'm thinking of like the remix of it is getting to roll in what technology makes possible.
Hmm.
And so on Instagram now I follow a bunch of nail artisans and folks that do celebrity nails, like the shop that's responsible for the nails in the TV show Claws,
Mm.
and they post their work. They're in New Orleans, by the way, which just
I
has
miss
an
New
added piece
Orleans.
of love for me.
Yes.
And so I'm like, just as soon as outside is open,
The
I am
second
booking
it
my
opens.
appointment. I'm coming to see y'all.
The second it opens. Do you hear me? Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Right. And so getting to see like the designs that they're putting out and being like, okay, so I think I can do that one. Or let me see if I can like do some variation, like an inspiration of that. So like a nail art picture saved as inspiration. Like I want to try that design.
Isn't it lovely though? Like, so when was the last time before this? When was the last time that you really just stood excitedly in the place of a student, right? Like, when was the last time you sat in the student seat with enthusiasm? Like, oh, look at what I'm about to learn, and I am so excited about it, right? Like, that in and of itself I think, is restorative energy, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it develops us. It is rejuvenating. It is, it is exciting. And I mean, it opens us up creatively. I love that. And it's infectious, right? Like, your excitement about it is exciting to me. I'm like, yeah, where did the pictures? Let me see the nails, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's wonderful. Lisa says magpie. Yes, magpie. She says,
Yeah.
and now since I have typed the word magpie, I now want pie. Ideally, sweet potato.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like you're our kind because, like, we were having a conversation yesterday. Somebody told me over the weekend that they were bored. And they're like, the boredom has gone so far, I started watching X. And I was like, I don't understand this concept of boredom. Like,
yeah,
I'm thinking, like, ooh, should I paint? Should I sew? Should I read? Should I do this? Should I do my nails? Like, and all the things. And so, and I have, like Lisa said, the puzzles, and I have the coloring books. And so, some things I just haven't gotten to in a while because they haven't rolled back up in the rotation because I'm infatuated with something else right now.
yeah, yeah. It's when we were talking about when we were planning for this conversation, we were talking about that very thing, that we are blessed, the two of us, to just not suffer for lack of lack of ideas, right? Like I am proudly easily fascinated. Like my husband makes fun of me. He's like, I know when I hear the words, "Ooh, what's that?" Then it's like, then I either need to have my paper, my magazine, I need to have something to do, or I need to have somewhere to be because Jill is down a rabbit hole. Like and if I'm there, then I'm down the rabbit hole with her. So I either need to exit stage left, or I need to get interested or find something to
Alert,
occupy myself.
alert.
But ooh, what's that? Is right. Lisa understands. She's like bored. What is
Right?
this boredom? What does it
I didn't
mean?
even know how to respond to that message because I'm like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get overwhelmed by the number and ideas of things. Like I could do this, or I could do that, or I can learn this. Right. And so it's just like, where do I start? It's so hard to pick
like
one thing.
paralyzed by the
Yeah.
overwhelm for a minute.
I want to do all the things. I want to talk to all the people. Oh,
That part.
goodness. Oh, goodness. Lisa says, I don't think I
That
know any bored adults, but I also don't fucks with people who lack curiosity and the ability to make their own good time. I do think, yeah, I think especially that last part, Lisa, the ability to make their own good time. Folks who show up for themselves and in their spaces with the intention to be interested, right? Like those are just the people those are the people I come from. Those are the people I congregate with. And so those tend to be the people who are in my life, right? Like, I mean, even if even if their tuning in is to see what goofy thing that I've gotten up to, because that happens too, right? It's like, oh, Katrina's here. Katrina says, me too, that crafting is my love language. Yeah, absolutely. And of, there's just no shortage of ideas to explore, right? Like what Lisa was saying, that her sewing practice continues to support her as a restorative practice. But you think about it, like within sewing, even if I sew a blouse, even if I have sewn 10 blouses, right? The 11th blouse, that sewing experience is not going to be the same as the ones, as the ones before. So there's still something new in it. Yeah, and Lisa is responding to Katrina saying, yes, I agree. I love to make. Yeah, absolutely. Something
And that's,
about that. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just thinking, like, as we're talking through this, like, it's just rolling back to our grounding question of why this is a legacy issue.
Hmm.
So, in the day when I am gone, which will be 80, 90 years from now, you're going to see something sparkly or some outlandish nail design or some dress that is like, I never would have put that together, but that looks like Alicia, or she would love that. And
Hmm.
so that legacy and that memory, like what Lisa was saying, the memory of a person and those things and those touch points. So when you see a little creative project or somebody doing a project, people are going to think of you in that way. So the
Absolutely.
people that know that you sew, they're going to see something and be like, oh, I remember my friend so and so that sewed all the time and loved to make little things like that or create little things like that. And so that is why those restorative practices and taking into them and letting them be a part of your story and not hiding them from the people that are part of your world really is a legacy issue to me.
Absolutely. And I would add on that it affects your living legacy, right? So both while you are, if we think of legacy as this idea that certain things, certain ideas, certain memories, certain ways of being, certain recollections, certain artifacts only exist because we were here, because I was here, because you were here, because Lisa was here, Katrina was here, Danielle was here, right? Shauna was here. That 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 legacy is yet being created all the time, right? We don't have to be dead in order for that legacy or memory to exist. And so that means that it is never too soon to to I guess to be known or to be thought of. For example, in your case, as a person who Alicia is a person who is interested in her life. She lived a life of interest, right? That was interesting to other people and that she is interested in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Both in the now and the hereafter.
Yes.
So let's see. I think we have time for at least one more question. Do you want to give it a shot?
Oh, it makes me tense because I'm like, but which one do we pick? But I think the next one that is on our list is the appropriate next question.
Okay.
And it is, what restorative practice are you cut off from during COVID? And is there a way that you can do or have done to recapture some element of that restorative practice?
Okay. That feels productive. Okay, so the question is, what restorative practice essentially have you not been able to access in your regular way during COVID? And sort of what hacks or workarounds have you come up with to still be able to engage with it in some way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you haven't come up with the hack yet, then to think about, is there something that you could do now that you're thinking about restorative practice?
Okay.
To get a piece of that.
I'm going to put that question in the chat while you grapple with an answer for that question.
I see what you did there. So I would say two restorative practices are coming to mind that I can't really get to in the same ways right now. So one of them is a health spa that is here that I really enjoy and miss going and just spending some time in the sauna and the steam room and the hot tub and all those things. And so that is just not accessible right now, because obviously we don't go to those places. And so while one recapture would be going to the Costco website and getting one of those saunas that you can put in your house, it's a little cost prohibitive at present. Since I can't do that one, I will say this is the one that there are some ways of recapturing. And so thinking about that. And so whether it's creating the spa experience at home. So taking the time we're going to take a bath or a shower or do a foot soak, not as like the hygiene of the day. So the morning shower in the getting ready of the day, but like I want this in the evening as a restorative practice. And so like layering in the elements of it so it gives that spa-like experience. Mm-hmm. So that is certainly something that I could do and haven't done yet. One that is restorative that I've found a different way to recapture it is my people. Like I miss getting to go and sit and just chit chat with a friend or hang out or plan a dinner date, different things like that, particularly for my folks that just what we have going on in life, our schedules are different, or we don't live as geographically close, like close enough to drive, but it takes a little bit of planning. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that we can't do that in the same ways. And so using some of the technology. So one of my friends that we have talked about, Marco Polo, like that become a lifeline for us because schedules are different. And so we are in conversation and are talking about life and what's going on and updates and tips and the fun stuff, the silly stuff, all of it. Mm-hmm. And it's this ongoing conversation that can happen in this way.
What is Marco Polo for people who don't know?
So Marco Polo is an app that it is where you are exchanging messages. So think like if you were going to send a text message with a video element to it, but you can just send it to an individual person, or it can be in a group chat and you can just turn it on and record and talk as long as you want to. And there's a feature where if you don't feel camera ready, because sometimes life looks like that, it can be with a photo and you're just talking to that person, and then it just lets them know that you've left a message, and so they can get back to it whenever they can and return the message. They can talk to you in real time in the sense that they can be watching while you are recording and send little short responses live, or they get your message when it works in their schedule in a couple of hours, and then they can respond with however long they want to talk back to you.
So it's sort of like if walkie-talkie and voicemail got together and had a baby, but with video. That's what it would be.
Yeah, that. And it's funny because it's an app that I have used for several years now. But just getting to, and it's, I think a lot of people are discovering it in the age of COVID, because I am constantly getting the little things that pop up like, oh, so and so in your contacts is new to the app, do you want to send them a message? And
Yeah.
so just the numbers of people that I see rolling in, like,
And the numbers of
oh,
people
welcome.
that we have introduced
Yeah.
to the app, because I know some friends
True.
introduced me to it years ago, and or a couple of years ago, I think. But what is time? And and so it's sort of made its way through our various friend groups too, as
So
other
true.
people have also stumbled on it and liked it. So there's an opportunity, a significant opportunity for community there.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, really cool.
Yeah. So those are mine. What you got?
For me, I think the one that came to mind before is the one that I that is sticky. So for me, I think it's travel. I and the physical experiences of things. I am an experience person. You know, I mean, you know me, so you know that if there's an opportunity to buy me a thing or to have me do a thing, I'm going to choose to do the thing just about every time. And so yeah, so the traveling, whether locally or long distance, that is a restorative practice for me I mean, it's just difficult to replicate that. But there are some there are some ways that I have. I mean, technology is an amazing thing. I can't imagine being in this socially distanced, sheltering in place time without Al Gore's and Beyonce's internet. Like
Whoo,
I
child. I
know
don't even want to think of it.
we talk about the internet as trash, but well, we don't. I don't. But people do, and that internet allows us to run our business from a distance. It allows us to engage with our people from a distance. Katrina is saying that she misses hugging and kissing her nieces and nephews, and it's, I mean, how do you replicate that? Right.
Yeah.
And Lisa is saying that Black Women Stitch retreats are significantly restorative for her. And she was crushed when those in person retreats had to be canceled. But a workaround or a substitution for her has been weekly Zoom chats and get togethers and meetings and sort of socializing. And communing in that way, and that definitely helps, even though it's not the same. And so, similarly for me, the traveling and just sort of social engagement outside.
Mhm.
Whether I'm just in the presence of people, whether I'm sort of on my own and in the presence of people, which is a frequent thing, or if it's, I'm out with the people. Couple of apps. One, well, we already talked about a couple new to me apps. So there's that. But also, oh shoot. Google Arts and Culture app. That's what I can think of the name for a second. The Google Arts and Culture app allows you to visit museums and to sort of do a virtual sort of walking tour of actual exhibits in various museums all over the world to do to do all kinds of stuff. It's not just museums, but historical sites and interesting travel things. And so there's arts and culture. That's it's in there. And yeah, so that's a place where that we were talking before about the in a previous episode about the costume exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum that is taking a look at the costumes from The Queen's Gambit, which is a series on Netflix, and The Crown, which is also a Netflix series. But exhibits like that, that's been good. The number of conversations that I've gotten to be a part of or to witness with people from all around the world. And this is just not just the Clubhouse thing, because literally Clubhouse is my activity on Clubhouse is days old. So, but for example, Dr. Yaba Blay has started some conversations inspired by the 35th anniversary of The Color Purple, and so just these are conversations happening on Instagram, right? Just on Instagram Live. She did an installment with Tarana Burke. She did an installment, I think it was just last night, with Dr. Kyla Story, and just being able, like, you can engage in the conversation, like in the comments. It's a whole interactive experience. It is not the same as as being in person, but I will say that some of that conversation, because of the chats and the technology and so on, is more robust than
Mhm.
simply going somewhere and listening to them talk, right? Just in the audience, the opportunity to engage is a little bit closer. So there's some pluses and some minuses. It's not a one to one substitution for sure, but there's definitely some value to those things. Lisa is saying yes. The costume exhibit was stunning. So yeah, those are some of the things that I've leaned on. It's just, I mean, for anything that is a social interaction, for me has been technology based, whether that's interacting socially with my family or around, with strangers around the globe, just centering on a common interest. I
Yeah.
mean, all of that for me has been technology, because when I tell you, I'm not fooling with that outside. I'm not doing
Nope.
that. Um,
Not
anyway,
here for it.
yeah, yeah. You know what? Thank you all for this conversation. Thank you for your activity and for your engagement. Are there any more thoughts for the good of the order before we sign off? Because we're just sort of hitting at time now.
Sweet. Well, I would think so. We had one more question and we don't have time to engage in it, but I think it is a wonderful question to leave as homework so that everybody can think about it for themselves.
Yay! Do.
So, our last question is if there's something you're looking forward to. And so, I think in this conversation that we've had of restorative practice and the legacy of it and kind of like you said, these are the things that you've been leaning into. I think it's so important in this time to remember whatever your thing is, lean into something
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because there is a lot going on in the world. And so finding something that is restorative to you is your legacy so that you can be one of the people that tells about the crazy year that 2020 was. And so, in your leaning into something, and we can all find and reach out to a thing that is hard or negative or just crappy about this year without even having to think hard. So, take some of that and find us something and think about what's something you're looking forward to
I
and
love
tell
it.
us about it on the Instagrams.
I love that. I absolutely love it. I'm putting that question in the chat. What are,
Everybody's got it.
yeah, what are some restorative practices that you're looking forward to? Whether it's engaging with an old practice or reconnecting with a practice that you've sort of disconnected from a little bit, whether it's exploring something new, um, whether it is doing the exact same thing in maybe in a different way, or with different people, because that can be fun. That can be fun too. So
Finding a newer, different way to share it with your people you got already.
exactly, exactly. So
That's what I
absolutely.
got.
Well, Katrina says, "Amen." I love it. All right, you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, as always, for being here with us. Thanks, Danielle. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Katrina. Thanks, Shauna. Um, all of you for engaging with us today. Alicia, thank you. And I'll thank
Thank you.
myself too. Thank
I thank
everybody.
you. Before
Well,
you can, like they say, you can't fire me because I quit. You can't thank yourself because I thank you.
well, I receive it. Thank you. All right, you all. We will see you here next week on Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time for Legacy, a live stream conversation. We appreciate you. If you need to reach out to us, we welcome it. We receive that reach out and we welcome it. You can do that on Instagram at Dahlia Law Group. Dahlia is spelled Dahlia, just like it is on your screen right now. You can catch us on the web at dahlialawgroup.com. And you can also email us at DLG, like Dahlia Law Group, at dahlialawgroup.com. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.